everyone, welcome. So today we will be discussing about subject and predicate. So subject would mean who or whom are we talking about, whereas predicate would mean the action that is being done. So it's a particular sentence is divided into two parts. One is the subject and other is the predicate. So subject is who or whom we are talking, so it's basically noun or pronoun, whereas predicate, it will contain the verb part of it. So here there are a few sentences like the big green frog jumped across the log. So whom are we talking about? In the first sentence we are talking about the big green frog. So the big green frog would become the subject, whereas jumped across the log would become the predicate. Next sentence, my sweet grandmother wore a blue dress. So here, whom are we talking about? We are talking about my sweet grandmother. So my sweet grandmother will be the subject and the rest part of the sentence will be the predicate. The next sentence, the old shack blew over in the wind. So we are talking about the old shack. So that becomes a subject and the rest part becomes the predicate. So basically the subject is who or what the sentence is about and the predicate tells what the subject is doing. Okay. Next, what are the various differences that we have in subject and predicate? If we talk about the subject, a subject is a person or thing performing the action. It is usually a noun, pronoun, or noun phrase, and it usually precedes the predicate. It is usually before the predicate. Okay, what about predicate? It indicates the action performed by the subject. It contains the verb, object, and other elements, and it usually comes after the subject. Now let us take few more sentences. The dog barks at the cat. So whom are we talking about? We are talking about the dog. So the dog becomes the subject and the rest part becomes the predicate. Mr. Smith is my teacher. So whom are we talking about? We are talking about Mr. Smith. And the rest part becomes the predicate. Joe and Bob played at recess. So whom are we talking about? We are talking about Joe and Bob. So they become the subject. Our family went on vacation. So whom are we talking about? We are talking about our family. So our family is a subject and the rest part of it. Our family was doing? They went on vacation. So that becomes a predicate. So in this one, let us do together. So okay, so here the horse likes to eat hay. So what are we talking about? We are talking about the horse. So the horse will become the subject. Here the horse will become the subject. The students studied hard for the test. Whom are we talking about? We are talking about the students. So the students will become the subject. My mom loves me very much. Whom are we talking about? My mom. So what does she do? She loves me very much. So loves me very much becomes a predicate and my mom becomes the subject. My dad's cell phone has a funny ring. So what are we talking about? We are talking about my dad's cell phone. So that is the subject and rest becomes the predicate. The bee drank the nectar from the flower. So who drank the nectar? Whom are we talking about? We are talking about the bee. So the bee is the subject and drank the nectar from the flower is predicate. My parents said that I could get a dog. So whom are we talking about? Who said? My parents. So I'm talking about my parents. So my parents said. My parents is the subject. Said that I could get a dog will become the predicate. Next, my friends and I like to swing at park. So whom here we are talking about? My friends and I. So this is a noun phrase. My friends and I. So it is combined. It is a conjunction which is there and. So my friends and I becomes the subject and like to swing at the park is the predicate. March grew to be very large. So what are we talking about? The March. So March and grew to be very large becomes a predicate. Henry and Marge are best friends. So who are we talking about? Henry and Marge. So that becomes a subject and our best friends are the predicate. Henry really wanted a dog. So whom are we talking about? We are talking about Henry. And really wanted a dog becomes a predicate. Now this is another set of questions that you can get. You are here, look at the circled group of the words and tell whether it is subject or predicate. So first sentence, Jack went for a bike ride. So here what is encircled? Went for a bike ride. So we are here talking about Jack, not the bike ride. So went for a bike ride will become the predicate. Now next, grandma came to visit us. So grandma is, yes, we are talking about grandma, so that becomes a subject. My friend and I had fun at the park. So my friend and I becomes the subject. We helped Matt fix his bike. So we becomes the subject. Our new school looks good. So what are we talking about? Our new school, which is a subject. So looks good becomes the predicate. Tim will get a new book for class. So will get a new book for class is the predicate. The blue fish is very pretty. So the blue fish becomes the subject. My mom and dad like to go to church. So like to go to church is predicate. A big dog ran after Pam and Sam. So a big dog, a big dog becomes a subject, whereas ran after Pam and Sam is the predicate. So here only a big dog is the subject and ran after Pam and Sam becomes a predicate. Ran will not belong to the subject because ran is the verb. What is the big dog doing? The big dog is running after Pam and Sam. Right. So what is the action taken by the big dog? Is the predicate, and who is doing the action is the subject. The rat is on the top of the trash bin. The rat is the subject.